Everybody, welcome to episode number 29, Social Selling for Newbies. Didn't we just hit 20 or 21?
I don't know, but
ago?
I've been excited for us to hit 29 because it's also my age. Works out really well.
Perfect.
Bethany, why are you laughing so hard about that? Come on.
Oh, no, just...
I spray this on to make me look a little bit more mature.
Yeah, adds credibility.
So I'm here with Brandon, my co-host, and Carson is out on a sales call today at a customer site. I can't believe that he goes and sells during social selling for newbies, but anyway, he may pop in. But if not, we've got a really nice replacement today, Bethany Stachenfeld, who I will introduce here in just a minute, but welcome Bethany, and hopefully you can put up with us today.
Hey, great to be here.
All right. And welcome to everybody on the podcast. And if you're live, certainly jump in, let us know that you're here. And we have a pretty cool conversation today where we're going to get into really how to use what we call modern content and how to use that into your social selling strategy. And as you'll find out, Bethany is a bit of an expert in that area. So we're really glad to have her expertise. But before we do that, we will start with and welcome Dave from sunny Indianapolis. But before we start, Brandon and Mark, and welcome Mark, let's do our weekly dad joke challenge. And I will be representing ChatGPT today. Bethany, who should go first, Brandon or me?
Ooh, let's have ChatGPT go first, Tom.
Okay. I'm going to set the bar high.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Okay. So why did the salesperson sell his vacuum cleaner? Because it was just gathering dust.
Sorry, not funny.
Yeah, I didn't even get there. I'm watching everybody talk on the side there about their how beautiful weather is everywhere. That's kind of nice. All right, I got ChatGPT on the ropes. All right, ready?
Oh, look at what Rob said. Rob is laughing hysterically at mine. So there you go.
That's just laughing out loud, not hysterical.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go, Brandon.
Okay. My wife says I've been getting fat, but in my defense, I've had a lot on my plate lately.
Oh, that's not bad.
I think I got a little bit more of a chuckle out of Bethany than ChatGPT did.
But there's Butch again telling you that Brandon wins every week.
Butch doesn't even listen to the joke. He just says Brandon wins. I pay him.
Yeah, Butch, what did Brandon say? I don't think he can repeat it. All right, I agree. I'm going to go with Brandon. Bethany, you're going to be what do you think?
Oh, I'm Team Brandon. Let's go.
Oh, thanks, Bethany.
All right.
That's because our names start with the same letter. We're bonded.
Yeah, it's the B power.
That's right. Well, let's introduce Bethany. We have a great guest and lots of cool stuff to talk about. So
Bethany, tell us a little bit about you and what you do, and then we'll jump into our topic today.
Yeah, for sure. Hey guys, I'm Bethany. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sendspark. And Sendspark is a video messaging platform purpose-built for sales teams to create personalized videos at scale, which I know is a mouthful. But you can basically think of us as your Loom or your Vidyard or your other video messaging tool on steroids, where you can use dynamic personalization. You can make videos very quickly, reuse content, and just use other superpowers to be able to connect personally with video in your outbound sales emails, your replies, follow-ups, anywhere you're reaching out to customers. You should easily be able to create and send videos with Sunspark.
Yeah, what I like about Sendspark, I'm relatively new to the platform, but I've used Loom and some of the other ones that are out there. But the ability to kind of customize and create sort of that tailored video experience, you've really done a good job of building that into the platform, and that's what we're going to get into today is how we can leverage some of that. So let's go ahead, Brandon.
Before we jump in, did you see Mike Franz's comment?
Oh, did he do it?
What did 0 say to 8?
Nice belt.
Nice belt.
That's actually my mom's favorite joke. She says that all the time.
That's good. Well, here's my favorite joke to tell, and my kids, they've all must have heard it 1,000 times. Is whenever we drive past a cemetery, I go, oh, look at that place. People are dying to get in there.
Oh, it's bad.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You're on a roll today.
You all can use it anytime you want.
Okay.
No royalties or anything. I stole it from someone else.
All right. We digress.
We do. Let's let Bethany share her wisdom.
So let's start off by talking a little bit about what we mean by modern content. And Brandon, we had a webinar, in fact, on a little bit about this morning.
We
that
did.
some of you may have been on, but it's a topic that we've had a lot of conversations with people on. And what we are kind of putting in the bucket of modern content, and I guess the second bucket would be more traditional content, is anything that is more user generated, or like this show, right? This show is user generated. It's not, well planned out. It's put together. And I guess that
It's
wasn't,
not well
I
planned out.
guess I didn't come out just right.
Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll never see you again. Have fun.
Yeah. Oh boy.
We do have an agenda. Bethany could attest to it. We put an agenda together for the show.
Right.
Yes.
I guess, but it's versus traditional content, which might be an ebook or a brochure or even a blog post that is, all of those types of things that are more traditionally produced, versus user generated content, which can come from a short video. It can come from a post, a social post. It can come from an article on LinkedIn. It can come from the show. All of those things kind of fall into the bucket of what we're calling modern content. And, one of the biggest types of modern content that we're seeing a lot of, this is what we just talked about this morning, is what we call episodic content, which is like this show where you have a theme, and then you're producing content more and more around that theme. And Bethany, I know you were just talking to us a bit about even a customer that you had where they picked a theme in their company, and then they were creating videos around that theme and sharing it within the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about some of the power that created.
Yeah. And I think like when we're talking about episodic content, and especially bringing other people in, like part of the reason I think it's so powerful is that you're speaking to people in a very natural conversational way, right? Like compared to an ebook or a white paper, something that has clearly had so much effort go into it. It's almost like the fact that there's that much effort that went into it makes you skeptical when you're reading it, because it feels so unnatural and like sterile in a way, versus if you're kind of capturing the authentic content. And you mentioned to me bringing other people on, and I think that's really powerful. For everyone here, the reference I was talking about is one of our customers. I thought this was such a creative way to use Sendspark as a way to like record and send videos. But instead of our customer creating the video himself, he was working with this very large enterprise account where they already had a part of the company, like their New York office was already using their platform. And they were trying to get the LA office using, a contract with them as well. And so what they did was they created a video. It wasn't like a formal marketing video or like a formal testimonial with the office. It was very natural. They had them record a Sendspark video showing them how they were using the software and the results they were seeing. So like super quick, super casual. And then they took that video and they sent it to the LA office and were able to show like, hey, people at your company are already using our product. This is how they're using it. This is the results they're seeing. And then we're able to close that deal. And, it in a way, it's like a lot easier than creating this high quality content. But you can imagine how powerful that is when you're just able to capture that value, show it, cross time zones and barriers, and kind of make everyone involved in the process look really cool. Yeah.
And how did they send that video? And who did they send it to?
Yeah, so they were able to use Sendspark. When with our platform, you can both request videos from people. So you can send out a video request link that anyone can use to just record a video of themselves or their screen. And then once it's uploaded in Sendspark, then you also can have like a link or an animated GIF preview to send it out through email. So they were they were already talking to the decision maker at the other office. So they were just able to send it to them. And it was interesting because it was all internal within the same organization, but because it was such a big account, like their, New York and LA offices were pretty segmented, basically like different companies.
Yeah. So essentially allowed you to use, what they did is sort of the episodic was conversational. So Somebody sent a video with some information, somebody else sent it back, somebody else sent something else, back and forth, but it was all based around a theme. And in this case, kind of a collaborative theme back and forth. But
Yeah.
again, this is a really good example of this wasn't highly produced, more traditional content. I'm going to send a brochure. I'm going to send a ebook. I'm going to do those types of things. This was, again, more organic, more authentic, as you said. And again, those are all the things that we kind of consider this role of modern content. And one of the reasons we really like modern content is we don't have to rely on it as sales professionals. We don't have to rely necessarily on marketing to create our content for us. Doesn't mean we can't use our marketing content, and there's a time and a place for it. But if we start to get fluent with more of the modern content and the creation of that, then it gives us a lot more flexibility on what we're doing.
Yeah. One other thing I want to add to that we've seen a lot of people doing with Sendspark is like this hybrid approach, because the thing with marketing content, it can often look really good, but because you're relying on someone else, there's a lot of friction. And also things can go out of date because like maybe it was made 6 months ago. It's no longer perfect. So at Sunspark, we've started offering a custom intro feature. So you can take like a marketing video or like your nice collateral and then record a personalized intro on top of that. And in a way, it's kind of helpful because it gives you a chance to like modify the content yourself, make it feel more personal, and also make it more relevant. And we've seen that pick up a lot over the last few months since we released that as kind of like hybrid, use marketing in some things when it matters, but add your own personal touch to really make it work.
Yeah, Bethany, I really like that a lot. I didn't know you had that. In fact, as you were talking earlier, I was thinking about, could you take multiple videos from different people in different offices and then stitch them or edit it together and create something? It sounds like what you made available. I think that's really powerful, especially one of the things I believe with modern content is that it's just become more user friendly. It's just become more everyday style of content. When I first started engaging with YouTube, 15 years ago or whatever it was, it's like everything was perfect production. Like nothing got done unless it had perfect production. Mm-hmm. And now there's so much freedom for people to use this as a powerful tool in a more human, everyday, natural way. And it sounds like that's what you guys are empowering lots of people to do. That's really awesome.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way we think about it.
So what are some other, and Brandon, why don't we start, I'll start with you, especially as it relates to social prospecting. Mm-hmm. How do you see the role of what we're describing as modern content, and how does that fit in? You talk a lot about commenting, we talk a lot about, last week we talked about buyer enablement and how we enable our buyers to kind of facilitate their own journey. But how are you seeing and using the role of modern content in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, even looking at what Sendspark does, modern content is more natural. It's more human. Buyers have so much more power now that they want to choose who they want to spend their time with from a buyer's perspective. And a lot of that comes through demand generation. So you've got the use case of a salesperson. Let's say example A, they're pounding the phone and, Bethany, you're a CEO of a company. I want your attention. And Bethany does what most people do. They look at their phone, an unknown number, and probably doesn't answer it. Fair enough, Bethany?
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then you get the cold emails come in as well, and all that, all the messaging. But what if I was creating my own content, and now I'm not so much this faceless, unknown name and somebody that's bothering, but yet I've got videos on my LinkedIn account. And I send something to Bethany and said, hey, Bethany, I recorded this video about XYZ, and I thought as a CEO of a company, you might find value in it. And I can share that. So there's a better way of starting conversations with a lot of the user-generated content than just, knocking on a door or pounding a phone and trying to capture attention that way. It's a way that we can actually demonstrate our experience and demonstrate our value instead of just saying, I can help you. I got a lot of really good stuff. You just got to give me 30 minutes and let me try to prove it. We can prove it in advance. And I mean, I think what you guys are doing is great, because video should be, and I know it's hard for a lot of people to get in front of a camera and overthink, all the fears and everything, insecurities come out. But it really is one of the easiest ways, because we've all been talking to people our whole lives. Just, talk to that camera.
But I think you bring up a good point, and I'm pretty sure, Bethany, with Sendspark, you do screen sharing and you can record screens. And if you don't want to be on camera, no problem, right? You can still share a screen or share something and talk about it, and you don't have to be on camera, but at least you still hear the voice and you still see the person behind the camera, right? And the audio and the thing. And Bethany, do you see that a lot, where people don't feel comfortable for whatever reason being on camera, but then using different techniques to still get it across?
Yeah, we do see that. So you're right. You can record just your screen. And then what we're adding right now, so like not live yet, but check us out in a couple weeks, is we're actually going to add some like automatic filters, like kind of like Zoom, where it auto enhances your appearance, because we see so many times it's like you have all this great insight and knowledge to share, like especially, in sales, like you're the one talking to the customer, the prospect, what questions they want answered. Like you can make these videos that really answer it. You have that information and you can do that, but it's just like that little bit of friction of, oh, I don't like the way I look on camera, I'm going to do a million takes and never publish. So we're adding like video filters, and so that you'll just like look at yourself and be like, damn, I look really good today, this is great.
So I can cover up the gray beard, is what you're saying? I get a filter.
I thought that was intentional. No, like you can turn on your gray beard.
Do you have a hair filter?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll use that.
Our kids use a filter, and it may have been on TikTok, I don't know, but it's they came over and asked on Easter, right? They set us up and they asked my wife and I, like, oh, we'll take a picture of you. And we all, we think it's all great and we smile, and then they used the filter and they showed it to us, and my hair was gone, my beard's a lot whiter, I've got more wrinkles, I got a chubbier stomach. I'm like, what's up with that? They're like, yeah, it ages you 25 years. I'm like, awesome. Thank you. I don't suggest using that one for salespeople, Bethany. I don't think people will use it.
I don't know. Maybe you want to show you have a lot of years.
Yeah, you can show all your experience along the way.
Bethany, I'm curious, when we talk about user-generated content, and this episode is about the role of modern content, what are some of the best practices that you all are finding or recommending to your customers around video with individuals, not so much from the corporate brand, but with individuals?
Yeah. So I'd say the biggest use case that we see people using Sendspark for is like prospecting, like sales outreach. And there's a ton of different ways you can use it. Like even the other store I said, that was kind of more of like an internal, like land and expand upsell. Like there's so many different ways you can use it, but I'll focus on prospecting because that's what, everyone wants more pipeline. And what you really want to do with video is like show the vision. Like if you think of why is video more valuable than text, like of course there's all kinds of intangibles, like you're making a personal connection, you're introducing the people behind the company, you're building that relationship. But the key thing that you can do with video that you can't do with anything else is you can really show like the vision of what could be possible in this better world where they're using your solution or your software or whatever it is you're selling. And so teams that I've seen or people I've seen do a really good job are either able to like really capture like maybe a screen recording demonstrating the problem. Like if you're selling email deliverability software, you're showing your emails are going to spam right now. Like imagine if you could get a 20% lift of getting your emails in the inbox and what that would look like. Or you're somehow able to like show, hey, this is a chatbot you can put on your website and get all these additional leads or something like that. And of course you only have a few seconds to do it, but like, that's why video is powerful. You can show rather than tell. So I'd say like focus on what you can show immediately within 10 seconds that they're going to get that aha of this is what my life would look like if I were to use the solution you're selling.
Yeah. And even if you're not talking about a specific product or a solution and you're just trying to, again, create a conversation and create a connection, you can still do that in a short period of time. And somebody fairly quickly can evaluate, do I want to be connected to Brandon or not? Right. Very well. Maybe you use your new filter or something. Maybe that'll help.
That'll help.
Well, and I would say, like, even with that, there's still a little bit of like a vision. It's like, well, okay, but why is your life better when you're connected with Brandon?
Right,
So it's like, what can you do to get that across? Of like, it's not so much of like, do you have this problem? You know, it's like a lot of this stuff sounds like clickbaity or like sounds like contrived, but it just like, how can you be like, oh, you know, I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but like you want to get across like, hey, by being connected with me, you know, I'm here, I'm putting out this amazing content. Like you're going to be educated, you're going to be smarter, you're going to be more knowledgeable, you're going to be better able to do your job. Like, how do you kind of convey that, you know, in 10 seconds in a video? And, you know, it's the combination of the words you're using and then just your demeanor and your presence on camera that gets it across.
If everybody didn't know that you're in New York, they do now.
Sorry about the sirens.
It's all good. Yeah. I want to share this around video as well. And I think it's a good use of modern content, but especially video. I've noticed, and, you know, my dad jokes, and that's part of my persona. We have 5 kids. People remembered I have 5 kids. I tell dad jokes, and it just became part of my online persona. But I have noticed that when I post a dad joke in a graphic versus when I tell the dad joke on video and I load video, my engagement goes up a lot. I think video is just a richer medium, but I think it also breaks down a lot of barriers. Like for anybody listening, if you're in sales or you're in leadership and you need to grow influence, you got to get on video, do what you need to do to get comfortable, take a course, just get over your fears, whatever it may be, because it's the modern version of face-to-face, and it's richer medium. And I think that it just helps us connect that human to human so much quicker than we can do in an email or in text or anything else. And I think inside of social, it's that much more powerful too.
Yeah, completely. And, you know, speaking of social then, just what you're talking about, you also have an opportunity to repurpose that video in different ways. So if you do a short, even if it's a 10 or a 30, 10 second, 30-second video, you can even slice that up if you chose to, or take all of it and repurpose that on different social channels and leverage it in different places. So even if it's something that you're doing one-on-one, it still could be leveraged in other places as well. The example you gave earlier, Bethany, about that company, if they had the okay to share it, I have a feeling that would have done really well on social media, where they're sharing with one of their customers their successes, what they've done. I mean, that's, I think as Dave said here, right? Authentic and transparent comes to mind, and authenticity. That is what buyers want. That was our show last week. What do buyers want? Buyers want transparency and authenticity. God, I can't talk today. But anyway, you get the idea. Authenticity. And what they don't want is they don't want hype and the traditional sort of marketing piece of those things.
Yeah. And I have a tip for coming up with content, because I think a lot of people know, like, okay, I should do video. I know that this is going to help me build my personal brand, help me sell better, help me gain more credibility in the space, but don't exactly know where to start. And so my advice is, like, as you're on sales or discovery calls, like, write down the questions that people are asking, because that's probably what people are wondering at a broader level, and then just create really short form videos that answer those questions. And then you can post those out and you'll become an expert in your space over, just the course of a few videos. So I'd recommend starting there.
Oh, I love that, Bethany. You're speaking my language. I mean, that's one of the hammers I beat up all the time. Like, write down questions and answer questions in the form of a post, or turn on your camera and just do it. I just coached somebody a week or so ago, and it was a CEO of a company. And I said, look, just stop overthinking it. The next time you have a meeting, you're at, and he does a lot of face-to-face meetings, is the next time you're at a meeting with somebody, just think about one of the questions they ask. And then when you're walking to your car, you get in your car, turn on your camera and say, I met with, and say their title. You don't have to say their name. And they ask this question. Step 2, it's a good question because, fill it in. And if you have this question, here's 3 things you should think about if you're asking these questions. Like a simple 3-step formula, and it makes content creation so much easier. So thank you for saying that, Bethany.
That's even better. Yeah, that's an amazing formula. I love that.
Thank you.
So let's jump to Mike's question here. He's asking, are there ways to leverage your videos outside your individual or company social media account?
I think
Brandon,
it's
you
a
want to
great
take that
question for
one?
Bethany. I
Yeah.
was going to
Okay.
say,
Well,
I think it's a
all right.
great question for Bethany to start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a really big fan of email because with email, it's all about like bringing people the relevant content at the relevant time. So like, I love to just like sit down and really design like what's your customer journey? Where can people like be kind of falling off or slipping? Like how can you kind of nudge them back on path with like videos sent to them at the right time based on actions they either are or not taking. Because like with social media is like random, right? Like they just see it or they don't. It's there. It's kind of like lost in the abyss later. You know, if you put on your website, it's always there, but they're going to you. And then email is where you're going to them. So you kind of want to think about those three different sides of things, and ideally use a mix of everything. Oh, and then another place too could be like SEO, or like think of like, you know, not just social media, but maybe you're posting it on YouTube or a blog post with more organic search traffic.
Yeah, I really like that because, and it could not only, if you don't want to use email, you could even use it through direct message
Yeah.
in social media.
Mhm.
Either way, I think your point's really valid. There are things that we're doing that are one to many. So if we post something out on LinkedIn or on social, even though we may be commenting on somebody's post, it's still going to be one to many. It's going to be seen by other people. But if you're trying to, you know, we talk a lot about the yellow brick road. If we're trying to bring that prospect down our yellow brick road to the point where we've created demand and we've built trust with them so they're willing to do business with us, we want to share content in the right sequence. And when we do that through email or direct message or whatever one-on-one channel that we choose to, that's a very good way of leveraging again those same videos from that video catalog. And I'll go one more thing and then I'll let Brandon jump in. When you start to build your catalog of videos that you have, your portfolio, you can use those over and over and over for different people, different customers, different situations, different prospects. And as it grows over time, you'll find that you have, you know, maybe the right video. You don't have to re-record every single time. You can repurpose a lot of that content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think all of those are really good answers. And Mike, I was thinking about it too. Like this topic is role of modern content in social selling, and I think we focused a lot on video because Bethany's with us, rightfully so, and tap into her expertise in it. But I also think there's some other areas that we could talk about with it. You know, I think a really powerful thing is maybe to use video in a text message. Right. It's especially if you're in opportunity with somebody, you've already got a little bit of the know, like, and trust. You've built some rapport prior to something stagnating a little bit, you know, pop a quick video. And if you can text it to them, you're in a, you know, you're able to text with them, pop it in a text. And it doesn't have to always be just work related. It could be, hey, the other day when we talked, you said something about this, or maybe not deal related, I guess. And I was, you know, I read this article, I saw this or whatever, and I thought about you. Just using it to replace the lost face-to-face that we have, any way that we can replace the lost face-to-face, I think is really important. Even things like use the audio feature in LinkedIn messaging. You know, stand out, be different. You're going to send a message to them. You can pop in a video. You can throw an audio message. I like to use audio when I first get connected with people and just send them a quick little audio message and say, hey, you know, Bethany, great to meet you. Thanks for connecting. Just, you know, something to be a little bit different. But I think that's the role that we have with all these new tools and all these new mediums that we can use.
Yeah, completely. So Brandon, can you repeat your formula for Dave here?
Oh yeah. Hey,
your
Dave.
question formula. I think we'll call this the Brandon formula.
Sure. And Dave, it's in Modern Seller HQ, and I'll go find the link to it and send it to you. But it's so and so by title or name or whatever. Ask me this question. Step 2, this is a good question because fill it in. And step 3 is here's 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things, whatever. If you're asking this question, here's 3 things that you should consider when asking this question, and just bullet point it. If you're writing it, just speak it out. If it's on video, but I think it's a really great way, especially because if you think about it, if one, like, didn't we all learn this in like elementary school? If one person has a question, everyone else has the same question too. They're just too scared to ask it. So part of being a modern seller is that we demonstrate that we're a trusted advisor. We don't just tell people we're a trusted advisor. We actually actively demonstrate it by giving trusted advice. And I think answering a question in a public format, video, audio, written, I don't care, but answering those questions is your demonstration of being a trusted advisor. And you start getting welcomed or invited into conversations that way instead of trying to pound the walls down to get into the room.
Well, and you're proactively providing an answer to a question that somebody may not have asked, but they're likely is in their head. And that's, if you can do that, you will start to ascend to that trusted advisor status that you're talking about.
Yeah. Hey, Bethany, I'm curious, and this might, sorry, Tom, it might take us a little off agenda, but I'm curious about your sales team and their sales motions. Obviously, video is a big part of it because you got to drink your own Kool-Aid, right? Or eat your own filet mignon. That's what we should say.
Champagne is what we say.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. So what we do, so there's like two sides of it. Like one I'd say is the demand gen side, where it's not like super personalized. It's exactly what we're talking about, where you're creating videos like this. One channel that we use a lot is actually YouTube. And we started doing this like 3 months ago, and it's crazy how well it's worked. We'll basically like think of like a question like this, or like a really simple how-to. We'll use Sendspark to record like a 2 or 3 minute demo that's very specific to certain keywords, and then we'll throw it up on YouTube. We've been doing this for a bit. I don't know if it's like a gap in the system or something, but we've been able to get like on like the top spot under YouTube videos on page 1 of Google within like 24 hours just by doing this. So we drive a lot of like organic traffic through video. We also do some like email outbound and different things like that. But then what we're doing, because we're a pretty small team, right? Like we're a startup, and we have a very low price point. Like you can start with Sendspark at $15 a user a month. So we're not doing, like basically we need to really qualify our leads. So we put everyone into a free sign up for the most part. And then from there, we're qualifying people based on actions they're taking, size of account, potential to be a bigger customer. So I'd say like 95 of our customers are then on a self-service path where you can get started for free, use the platform, upgrade on your own, no strings attached. And then what we'll do is like in a separate category, we have our like product qualified leads. And then for those people, we're sending highly personalized videos, really trying to show value, help them run pilots, become successful, and then win larger accounts. So it's pretty segmented. But we're using video for both. It's just in some cases, it's very like generally helpful, and then in other cases it's very tailored and personalized.
And that's more of correct me if I'm wrong, that's more of the marketing motion. What about, do you have a sales team, and what are they doing that's different?
Yeah, so with the sales team, they're sending personalized videos to people. So we're product qualifying teams, and then there's videos as part of the entire process. So it's like personalized videos to get people on a call. Once you schedule the call, you get an automated personalized video kind of talking through the agenda, which is something that like we never had a huge problem with no-shows, but we helped some other companies set this up. So like people were having issues where like their potential customers would schedule meetings and schedule demos on the website and then not come and waste a lot of time. So we're helping other people set up automated like video reminders for meetings. So we were like, hey, we'll do it too. We'll set it up for Sendspark. And then we'll also use videos a lot after doing like discovery calls and follow-ups to just like recap high-level points, show tutorials or specific integrations. Mm-hmm. So it goes into the sales process a lot. I'd say we probably have a shorter sales cycle than most because we have a lower entry point, but we're still using video for all kinds of things. I mean, it's honestly more than text at this point. Like every now and then there'll be like a text email and you're like, oh, that's weird. I didn't send a video. It feels a little naked.
Like that's not our champagne. What are we doing?
Yeah. But it's cool. One thing we've also really done a lot of is like reusing content as well. So I was thinking, when you're talking about once you have a video, you can keep using it. So we'll do that a lot too, but we usually try to add a personalized intro in front of it. Because like on our team, it might be one person that's making all of these technical tutorials, and showing how these different integrations work, but it's, someone on sales or a different team that's actually sending them out. So they'll just record like a quick intro of like, oh, hey, you asked about this integration. Here's the video that walks you through it. Let me know if you have any questions. And they didn't actually record the integration itself. You can tell it's 2 videos, but it still feels a little bit warmer and more personalized.
You know what I really liked? Well, let me real quick, Brandon, before I forget, goes out of my mind, is you said something in passing there that I think is really powerful, which is using video to confirm a meeting with an agenda. And I think there's a big deal on that for a couple of reasons. One is when I get a video, if I got a video back on a confirmation with an agenda, I would feel more, I guess, obligated to, if I'm not going to show up, at least let you know and not just ghost you completely. So I'm not wasting your time. Or I would be more obligated or more willing probably to show up to that meeting versus just a calendar invite, which is very impersonal, right? It's just a very impersonal thing that pops up on my calendar. And I can imagine it wouldn't take long to send that. Thank you for signing up for the demo. Here's a little bit of an agenda of what we can expect to cover. If there's anything else you'd like to add, let us know, right? You're already starting to build the relationship before you even get on the phone. I think that's huge. And as you said, you're definitely seeing a reduction in no-shows and probably people showing up a bit more qualified when they do show up.
It's exactly what we've seen, and the people we've helped implement it have seen. And like when we first did it, I want to say there was like a 3-week period where we had like 0 no-shows. Like it was like, whoa, really? No one? And then of course someone no-show. And they're like, oh, I got the time wrong, whatever. But it made a huge difference. And we didn't really have that many no-shows, but for other people, they were seeing like, it depends on the industry. Like some people, were seeing like 50% no-shows was a huge issue, and they're able to greatly reduce it. Cause it's like, especially when you schedule the demo on the website, like you're not engaging with a person. It doesn't feel like you're letting a real person down, but yeah, it's like a huge bummer to be like sitting there waiting for a meeting that doesn't happen. And can it hurt like your morale too? So it's really helpful to do that. And you don't even have to record the video personalized for every person. All you really need to do is say like, hey, I'm Bethany, really excited to learn more about your use case. We're going to cover XYZ. Use the link below if you need to reschedule, otherwise talk to you soon. And so you just record that once and then you automate it. And it still has a big difference. So, I'd recommend doing that. It doesn't even need to be super personalized because you haven't met them yet. You want to be more personalized after the meeting for sure. But I would recommend doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a great modern use case of, we're calling it content, but look, anything that we can do. So many of us sell from screens now. We build rapport from screens. Anything that we can do, and this is, my older gray hair coming out, I think, but anything that we could do to recreate the older style of face-to-face is important, because we've known for years that if you can get in front of somebody, the probability of moving to an opportunity increased, but we just don't have that. I had another story. Somebody said they wanted to fly in and go meet with a client. And they're like, we don't even go to the office anymore. Like we'd have to find out who has the key to open the office to actually get in there.
You're gonna come to my house.
Yeah. But the recreating that the best that we can. And Tom, as we talk about your revenue zone, we still have know, like, and trust, and getting face-to-face, even in the screen-based digital world, moves us further down than anything that's in a written word.
Yeah, no, I just had an aha moment based around just what we're talking about. If you really, we talk a lot about mapping out the buyer journey, but even micro map it, take it to another level of micro mapping that, like just to the point of the confirmation on a phone call or whatever, like take it to another level of detail and think about where you can insert some modern content, video or whatever that, as you just said, Brandon, further builds that know, like, and trust, even if it's a little baby step along the way. All of those baby steps start to add up, and they do reduce the, none of us want to be ghosted. None of us want to be blown off, all that kind of stuff. So that all comes from trust, right? You don't ghost people that you like or trust. You ghost people if you don't know them or you don't have a relationship. So all of that starts to help build the relationship at a micro level, which then, leads to the bigger thing. So I'm really thinking, how do you look at that journey that you're going through and take it to another level of detail?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know Dave asked, and we didn't officially ask Bethany for Sendspark to sponsor the show, but since we've been talking so much about I don't think we've done a show yet where we've talked so much about a company, which is totally okay, Bethany. But Dave did ask the question, what values differentiate Sendspark from other video platforms? So there you go. It's all teed up and ready for you to go say why you're better than Loom or Vidyard.
Okay. Well, first of all, I love that you asked what values differentiate us and not what features. That's just so beautiful. So I would say like Sendspark has a lot of the same basic recording videos and like sharing features that you'll see with other platforms. But from the value perspective, we're all about efficiency and personalization at scale. Like I think, the reason we started the company was we saw videos really powerful, but the other tools were so manual and so slow that you end up just not really being able to use video to its full extent because it just takes so much time. And so, we went to the drawing board and thought, how do we let you personalize what needs to be personalized, but then automate everything else to move quickly and move strategically. So even like, that video confirmation example we're talking about, I'm saying, hey, it doesn't have to be personalized for every person. Maybe it'd be better if it would be, but like the reality is it's going to take so much time, you're never going to do it, and then you just won't do it. Like you have to be realistic because you're so busy. We're all so busy. So with Sendspark, you can record really quick personalized videos when needed, but we have also added a ton of like templates, automation, shortcuts, and other things so that you can just create one video and then embed it into your your calendar confirmation email, or you can create one video and then make it dynamic and send it out in your outreach, SalesLoft, or HubSpot campaign so it can be personalized at scale. Or you can have like some really good template videos and record personalized intros for every person. And of course, you can do the one-on-one personalized videos, but our goal is like, how do we just really make it a lot faster and more usable? Which is why last year, like on G2, Sendspark was rated #1 in usability, implementation, video results, because like hopefully because it's so simple and fast and quick, you'll actually use it to connect with customers.
Well, good. Hey, if we're gonna have an episode where a product gets really promoted like this, at least it's a startup and we feel like we're doing good and helping the community grow. How's that?
Yeah, thanks for taking my shameless plugs.
Yeah, no, that was good. We teed you up for it, and I think it was appropriate though with this topic around modern content though.
So as we wrap up, well, thank you, Bethany. I mean, you've added a lot of insights, a lot of great insights today. And I think I hope that everyone starts to realize this idea of modern content and the different ways it can be used in that social selling journey. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be intimidating. And it's just, I think, Brandon, you wrote a post on this a couple of days ago. Just start, right? Just start, do something, try it out. It doesn't matter that it's perfect, or, even if you think it sucked or whatever. So anyway, that would be, that was, some really great insights on that. And Bethany, if they want to learn, somebody wants to learn more about Sendspark, where do you want to connect with you? Where do you want to send them?
It's just sendspark.com is our website. Like send a video, spark a conversation, Sendspark. And feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I believe I'm the only Bethany Stachenfeld. So if you can figure out how to spell my name, you'll find me.
All right. Well, thank you, Brandon. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, you know what? I feel like a failure at the moment though, because about 10 minutes ago, I was thinking if Carson hasn't shown up, I got to figure out a movie to throw in here to use the analogy. And I just haven't come up with one. So can the three of us come up with a movie? That's Carson's shtick on the show is he'll bring in a movie on every conversation, go, this reminds me of, and he'll talk about a movie and then relate it back to the conversation. So I'm just not the movie
50
buff.
First dates, like each little video is 50 first dates, or is that a movie where what kind of little piece by piece by piece?
That's a pretty good grasp at something though.
Hey,
I believe in Bethany though. Bethany's going to come up with one.
Oh man.
No pressure.
I know. I honestly, I love the. Oh, okay. No, I'm gonna piggyback off that and say Groundhog Day, where it's like a lot of repetition. The idea is to not do that, to like reduce the repetition. You know,
There you go.
personalized, personalized, and get rid of the repetition.
That's pretty good. Is that 2 weeks in a row that Groundhog Day came up now?
Groundhog has been present 2 weeks in a row. Yes.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah.
Impressive.
So,
Good
all right.
stuff.
Well done. Then we've held up for Carson well.
We did.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all the comments again. Hopefully you found this useful, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week.
All right. Thanks for having me.